Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my podcast and talk show. Today, we're going to talk about the Academic IELTS Writing Task 1 vocabulary. So, again, we talk about lexical resource, which is part of one of the criteria for writing Task 1. So, this video is for those who are looking to learn about IELTS writing task 1 or how to get from band 5.5 to band 8.5. All right, without any further ado, let's get going. So, what is IELTS writing task 1? Well, for those who are not familiarized with IELTS in general or IELTS writing task 1, it is one of the tasks in the academic IELTS writing. So we have writing task 1 and writing task 2. But today, again, we focus on writing task 1. So we have to look at the visual data, the data that we can see, and we have to summarize visual information such as graphs, charts, tables, diagrams, or maps. And you have to write at least 150 words. Okay? So, how much time do you have to complete this task? Well, you have 20 minutes. It's one third of the entire writing task because in writing task 2, it takes 40 minutes. So, total, it would be 60 minutes. So, you spend 20 minutes on writing task 1. What do? You have to look at a formal report. Not look, but you have to write a formal report actually. And you have to identify key feature, trends, and comparisons. Make comparisons. So, what are the criteria in writing task 1? Well, there are four main criteria. We have task achievement, coherent and cohesion, lexical resource, grammatical range, and accuracy. But today, again, we focus on lexical resource or vocabulary, in other words. All right, let's get going. So here are five task types at a glance for the IELTS writing task 1. These five types of tasks are pretty popular. Most of the time they appears on writing task 1. So the first one is line graph. It shows changes over time. Second, we have bar chart. What do? You compare quantity across categories. And third, a pie chart shows proportion of a whole of something. Fourth, we have the process diagram. What do? You illustrate stages in a sequence. Last but not least, map is also one of the most popular task type in writing task 1. It shows changes to a location over time. So you probably have to get to learn about these five types of um, tasks for writing task 1. Okay, let's talk about the assessment criteria. So lexical resource is one of the criteria among the four. So today we focus on lexical resource, which was 25%. Task achievement also worth 25%, where you have to address all part of the task with relevant key features. Coherent cohesion, it worth 25% as well. It shows logical flow, paragraphing, and use of cohesive devices. And the last one is grammatical range and accuracy. It's worth 25%. You have to write variety of sentences, and you have to play with complex structures, sentence structure, and make sure it's accurate. So these course focuses on lexical resources, the vocabulary criterion that directly impact your band score. So master range, precision, and flexibility to improve from band 6 to band 8. All right, let's get going. So today we will talk about module 1, trend vocabulary for line graphs. So you need to master the language of change, movement, and direction for line graph. All right. So the trend verbs are pretty important in writing task 1. We have upward and downward movement. So for upward movement or upward trend, use these verbs. For example, increase, rise, grow, climb, surge, soar, rocket, and jump. Again, these verb or key terms are used to describe upward trends in line graph. And if you want to describe the downward trends of line graph, you can use these words: decrease, decline, fall, drop, dip, plunk, plummet, and sink. So again, these verbs and terms are very important to get you to a higher band score in writing task 1, especially when you have to deal with line graph describing upward trends and downward trends. We also have stability and change term that you can use to describe stability and change. For example, fluctuate, plateau, remain stable, level off, peak, bottom out. So again, these are very important, significant for your writing task 1. So I already, put the color code down there for you so you can identify which group of vocabulary or verbs you use to describe upward trend. Remember, yellow is used to describe upward trends. Okay, orange is used to describe downward trends, and light blue is used to describe stability and change. All right, let's talk about noun, adverbs, and collocations that are really useful for writing task 1. So we have trend nouns here. For example, an increase, a rise, a surge, a decline, a drop, a fall, a peak, a through, a fluctuation, a plateau. So these are to describe trend. Let's look at degree adverbs. So if you read a lot of IELTS writing task 1, you would see candidates use a lot of these degree adverbs. For example, dramatically, significantly, sharply, substantially, considerably, steadily, gradually, moderately, slightly, marginally. So these order by intensity is strong to mild. Okay, and we have key collocation as well. Adjective plus noun pairs for band 7 plus. For example, you say a shop in Greece. See, a shop in Greece. That is adjective plus noun pair. A dramatic decline. A dramatic decline, right? a steady rise, a slight fluctuation, a significant drop. So here's a tip. Combine adverb with verbs rose sharply. You know already that adverb used to modify verb, right? Adjective used to modify noun. So you can use adverb with verbs or adjective with nouns. For example, a sharp rise. That is a pretty good things to do, but never use both at once. So if you use adverb plus verb or adverb with verbs, then do not use adjective with nouns, right? All right, let's talk about synonyms, bands, right? So band 6, band 7, and band 8. Let's see how people use different key term or verb or word, when they are getting band 6, which is only competent, band 7, that's good and advanced, band 8. So most of the time, candidate who get band 6, they use pretty common vocabulary. For example, went up, right? But in band 7, they don't say went up, they say increased. In band 8, they said surge dramatically. So they use verb with adverb, right? In band 6, you might want to say went down, but in band 7, they say decreased. And in band 8, they say witness a marked decline. Band 6, you say changed a lot. Band 7, you said fluctuated significantly. In band 8, you say experience a considerable fluctuation. In band 6, you say stay the same. Band 7, remain stable. Band 8, you say plateau at approximately. Right, the last, band 6, most of the time, again, the candidate might use a very simple phrase or word. They say the number was big. But in band 7, the candidate most likely use accounted for a large proportion. In band 8, they said constituted the overwhelming majority. You see, the range of the word they use. So in band 6, most likely the candidate use a repetitive words, informal word choice, or less precise or low precision. In band 7, the writer or the candidate use adequate range, for example, formal register, some less common items, good collocation. And in band 8, a wide range, precise collocations, natural flexibility, and skillful paraphrasing. One key insight to take away is that same idea, three level of sophistication, vocabulary choice alone can shift your score by full band. So that's important to look into, you know, synonyms so that you can increase your writing task 1 band score. All right, without any further ado, let's move on to line graph example. So you see, this is the line graph. Example 1, the internet user worldwide. So if you have to look, you have to look at the visual line graph here. So what you see is the internet user worldwide, the number of internet user worldwide from the year 2000 to 2020. So you see the number, right? You see the graph. It's from less than 4 million to 4,700 million, right? And we have the years from 2000s to 2020 or 2020. So you can look at the model sentence here. The model sentences. So the number of the internet user rose dramatically from 400 million to in the year 2000 to 4.7 billion by the year of 2020 or 2020. Or you can also say there was a substantial increase of approximately 1.5 billion user between 2010 to 2015. So you look at 2010, 2010 here, it is a substantial increase of 1.5 million at least, all right? 1.5 million. Sorry, 1.5 billion. Um, right. Growth accelerated significantly after 2005. You see, after 2005, it grows significantly. It accelerated. So the key strategy here is to use a mix of word pattern, right? Rose dramatically, the substantial increase accelerated significantly after 2005. So these are the key things that you have to focus on when talking about IELTS writing task 1. Using trend vocabulary in sentences. So we have to look into word pattern. Sale surged to 5 million units in 2018. We have to use verb plus adverb plus verbs. The feature increased gradually over the decade. We also use passive voice. A dramatic fluctuation was observed in a quarterly revenue. A noun pattern, it's important to use it. There was a significant rise in unemployment during 2008. You can also use adjective plus noun because adjective modify noun, you can say a sharp decline was recorded between March and June. You can also use complex sentence structure. After reaching a peak at 45% in 2015, the rate fell steadily to 30% by 2020. So the strategy here is varying your sentences pattern demonstrate lexical flexibility. If you could do that, your band score will go higher. So the single most effective way to move from band 6 to band 8 is to do this. All right, let's have a look at line graph number 2, the unemployment rate. So we have the country A in yellow, country B in blue, and country C in red. So this line graph shows the unemployment rate in 3 countries from 2010 to 2025. Okay, so what you have to do if you look at the spike and the recovery, country A experienced a sharp spike in 2020 before recovering steadily. So country A, remember, it's shallow. So this is 2020. It spiked sharply, experienced a sharp spike in 2020 before recovering steadily, right? Recovering steadily. Fluctuation. Country C, look at country C here in red, fluctuated throughout the period, right? It fluctuated throughout the period, peaking at 10% in 2010. So look at 2010, right? 10% right here. This is the percentage. Okay, we have to look at the y-axis and the x-axis, right? Okay, so this is all for module A for writing task 1. I mean academic writing task 1.